Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajikacharya Ashtotar Satashri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, and welcome to Sri Caitanya Caritamrta reading with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Thursday, October 3rd, 2024 in New York, and we are picking up where we left off, which was Adi-lila, chapter 10, and I have verse number 38 as our starting verse for tonight.
I had 37, but could be.
Let me look at my notes one more time. Sriman Pandita Shaka Prabhur Nijabritya. I had us reading text 37, but not 38.
Okay.
So if it's all right, we'll start with 38. Hare Krishna. So glad to see you, Maharaj. Glad you could be with us. Jai, Jai, Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Just need to post our starting verse in the top of the chat for our archiving purposes, and then we'll be ready to go. Shuklambara brahmachari bhada bhagyavan yanra anamagi kadi kaila bhagavan. The 16th branch, Shuklambara brahmachari, was very fortunate because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jokingly or seriously begged food from him, or sometimes snatched it from him forcibly and ate it. It is stated that Shuklambara brahmachari, an inhabitant of Navadvip, was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first companion in the Sankirtana movement. When Lord Chaitanya returned from Gaya after initiation, he stayed with Shuklambara brahmachari because he wanted to hear from this devotee about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Shuklambara brahmachari collected alms of rice from the inhabitants of Navadvip, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took pleasure in eating the rice that he cooked. It is said that Shuklambara brahmachari was one of the wives of the Yagnik Brahmanas during the time of Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Lord Krishna begged food from the wives of the Yagnik Brahmanas, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed a similar pastime by begging rice from Shuklambara brahmachari. Hare Krishna. Nothing comes to my mind in terms of other ideas or anything based on this that I could possibly say, but Maharaj, if you have something, be happy to hear from you.
Nothing. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastrate Shatare. Just a small thing. I at one time took this as evidence that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had senior brahmacharis in his association, but I think I've seen a reference to the effect that brahmachari was his surname, family name. So I'd be hesitant now to cite that as evidence.
Hare Krishna. Radhesha Prabhu says, I've always found that name fascinating for a brahmachari. White dress, Shuklambara. Yeah. Radhesha Prabhu, would you like to pick up reading with text 39?
Can I be next?
You can be next.
Okay.
I'll read text 39. Nandana Acharya Shaka Jagate Vidita Lukaiya Dui Prabhura Yanra Ghare Stita Nandana Acharya, the 17th branch of the Caitanya tree, is celebrated within the world because the two Prabhus, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, sometimes hid in his house. Nandana Acharya was another companion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his kirtan pastimes in Navadvip. Srila Nityananda Prabhu, as Avadhuta, traveled on many pilgrimages, and when he first came to Sri Navadvip Dham, he remained hidden in the house of Nandana Acharya. It is there that he first met all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his Mahaprakash, he asked Ramai Pandit to call Advaita Prabhu, who was hiding in the home of Nandana Acharya. For Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that he was hiding. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya also sometimes hid in the home of Nandana Acharya. In this connection, one may refer to Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kanda, chapters 6 and 17. Just a question here, perhaps for Maharaj, if you have something to say about this. It's curious that there's a prevalence of hiding among the Lord and his associates and hiding in this specific person's home. I certainly can't comment on that, but I wonder if you might.
I was wondering about the same thing. How is it that Nandanacharya's home became the repeated hiding place in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes? But I don't have an answer or reference.
Why did they hide? Whom were they hiding from?
Well, that's also, I suppose, a per pastime question.
Prabhupada does direct us to the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which I don't have access to at the moment.
I might Madhya Kanda 6 and 17. Well, to go through, I don't think we have the facility now to.
Right. But it's an interesting homework project to research the hiding pastimes of the Lord in the home of Nandana Acharya. Radhesha Prabhu, you are next.
All right, text 40.
Yes, indeed.
Shri Mukunda Datta Shaka Prabhura Samadhyai Yanghara Kirtane Nache Chaitanya Gosai. Mukunda Datta, a class friend of Lord Chaitanya's, was another branch of the Chaitanya tree. Lord Chaitanya danced while he sang. Sri Mukunda Datta was born in the Chattagrama district in the village of Changhora, which is under the jurisdiction of the police station named Patia. This village is situated 10 kroshas, or about 20 miles, from the home of Pundarika Vidyanidhi. In the Guru Ganadesha Dipika, it is said, Braje stitao gayakao yao madhu kanta madhu bratao, Mukunda Vasudeva tao dattao gauranga gayaka. In Braja, there were two very nice singers named Madhu Kanta and Madhu Brata. They appeared in Caitanya Lila as Mukunda and Vasudev Datta, who were singers in the society of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was a student, Mukunda Datta was his class friend, and they frequently engaged in logical arguments. Sometimes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would fight with Mukunda Datta using tricks of logic. This is described in Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi-lila, chapters 7 and 8. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, Mukunda Datta gave him pleasure by reciting verses from Srimad-Bhagavatam about Krishna Lila. It was by his endeavor that Gadadhar Pandit Goswami became a disciple of Pundarika Vidyanidhi, as stated in Madhya Lila chapter 7. When Mukunda Datta sang in the courtyard of Srivas Prabhu, Mahaprabhu danced with his singing. And when Lord Chaitanya for 21 hours exhibited an ecstatic manifestation known as Sata Prahariya, Mukunda Datta inaugurated the function by singing. Sometimes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Mukunda Datta by calling him Karjhata, Karjhatiya Beta, because he attended many functions held by different classes of non-devotees. This is stated in Caitanya Bhagavatam Adi-lila, chapter 10. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dressed himself as the goddess of fortune to dance in the house of Chandrasekhar, Mukunda Datta began the first song. Before disclosing his desire to take the renounced order of life, Lord Chaitanya first went to the house of Mukunda Datta. But at that time, Mukunda Datta requested Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to continue his Sankirtan movement for a few days more before taking sannyas. This is stated in Caitanya Bhagavatam Adi-lila, chapter 25. The information of Lord Chaitanya's accepting the renounced order was made known to Gadadhar Pandit, Chandrasekhar Acharya, and Mukunda Datta by Nityananda Prabhu. And therefore all of them went to Katwa to arrange for kirtan and all the paraphernalia for Lord Chaitanya's acceptance of sannyas. After the Lord took sannyas, they all followed him, especially Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu, and Govinda, who followed him all the way to Purushottama Kshetra. In this connection, one may refer to Adi-lila chapter 2. In the place known as Jaleshwara, Nityananda Prabhu broke the sannyas rod of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mukunda Datta was also present at that time. He went every year from Bengal to see Lord Chaitanya at Jagannath Puri. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Gurudas Jayadvaita Swami. There's a lot of information here. I think similar to the last purport, there's references to Chaitanya Bhagavat sections, and it would be a beautiful time to go to each of those sections and do them proper justice, reading them more thoroughly. But I was going to make a couple comments, but I think I'm happy just to either hear from you, Guru Maharaj, if you have something to say on this, or continue. It's a lot of condensed nectar that I don't think I could unpack properly.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add here now.
What's our reading schedule, Ekendra Prabhu? I don't want to hog the mic, so to speak.
Our reading schedule is that you are requested to hog the mic for some time.
All right, Hare Krishna. Text 41. Oh, one small note. It's especially with the Kirtan etiquette book out and meditating a lot on Kirtan and deepening our bhajan and showing appreciation for depth of bhajan over prioritizing skilled vocals. I do find it wonderful to have examples like this of two wonderful devotees who have both mellifluous voices and depth of bhajan, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated their kirtans greatly. So what a killer combo to have incredible voices and depth of bhajan. All right. Text 41. Vasudeva Datta Prabhura Bhritya Mahashaya Sahasramukhe Yangra Guna Kohila Nahaya. Vasudeva Datta, the 19th branch of the Sri Chaitanya tree, was a great personality and a most confidential devotee of the Lord. One could not describe his qualities even with thousands of mouths. Sahasramukha. Vasudeva Datta, the brother of Mukunda Datta, was also a resident of Chattagram. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is said, Yangrasthane Krishnaya apane vikray. Vasudeva Datta was such a powerful devotee that Krishna was purchased by him. Vasudeva Datta stayed at Srivas Pandit's house, and in Chaitanya Bhagavat it is described that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased with Vasudeva Datta and so affectionate toward him that he used to say, I am only Vasudeva Datta's man. My body is only meant to please Vasudeva Datta, and he can sell me anywhere. Thrice he vowed that this was a fact and that no one should disbelieve these statements. All my dear devotees, he said, I shall tell you the truth. My body is especially meant for Vasudev Datta. Vasudev Datta initiated Sri Yadunandana Acharya, the spiritual master of Raghunath Das, who later became Raghunath Das Goswami. This will be found in the Adi-lila, 6th chapter, verse 161. Vasudev Datta spent money very liberally. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Shivananda Sen to become his Sarakela, or secretary, in order to control his extravagant expenses. Vasudev Datta was so kind to the living entities that he wanted to take all their sinful reactions so that they might be delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is described in the 15th chapter of Adi-lila, verses 159 through 180. There is a railway station named Purvasthali near the Navadvip railway station and about 1 mile away in a village known as Mamagachi, which is the birthplace of Vrindavan Das Thakur. There is presently a temple of Madan Gopal that was established by Vasudev Datta. The Gaudiya Math devotees have now taken charge of this temple, and the Seva Puja is going on very nicely. Every year, all the pilgrims on the Navadvip Parikrama visit Mamagachi. Since Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur inaugurated the Navadvip Parikrama function, the temple has been very well managed. Text 42. I'll continue, and just please stop me whenever appropriate. Jagate yateka jiva tarapapalanya naraka bhunjite chahe jiva chadaya. Srila Vasudev Datta Thakur wanted to suffer for the sinful activities of all the people of the world so that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu might deliver them. Haridasa Thakur Sakara Adbhuta Charita Tina Laksha Nama Tingha Laina Patita. I guess Bengali, Tina Laka Nama Tingha Laina Patita. The 20th branch of the Chaitanya tree was Haridas Thakur. His character was wonderful. He used to chant the holy name of Krishna 300,000 times a day without fail. Certainly the chanting...
I could add something. Going back a couple of verses concerning Vasudev Datta, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put Shivananda Sen in charge of Vasudev Datta's finances because he used to spend very liberally. So it's the duty of a householder to have some money. In Adi-lila, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said about Vasudev Datta, Grihastha hayen iho shahiye sanchoy na koile kutumba bharana nahi hoy. Being a householder, he needs to save some money. Unless one saves money, it's not possible to maintain one's family. So a sannyasi shouldn't hold on to anything. There's some incident that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu criticized one devotee on pilgrimage for holding on to some trifle, and the devotee was keeping it for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's possible use, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu criticized that, why are we holding on to something? So sannyasi is like that. He should hold on to nothing really. Krishna will provide. But a grihastha has to run a household, so he has to have some money. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu married, then he went, it's described, he went to, I think, East Bengal to make some money. He went to East Bengal to get some money together, because that's the duty of a householder. So everyone's duty is different, and seeing that Vasudev Datta was something of a spendthrift, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appointed Shivananda Sen, who must have been expert in financial affairs. He managed the whole Jagannath Puri pilgrimage every year, so and financed it himself. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "You be in charge of his finances." Okay, now let us go the other way on to Haridas Thakur.
In our morning e-sangha classes in Hawaii, we're on the section where Narada Muni is taking away Daksha's repeated progeny, turning them towards brahmachari life. And so it's been some interesting discussions with the devotees, which direction we're encouraging. And Narahari Prabhu was saying this morning how he kind of sympathized with Daksha. He was saying how, would have been nice if we had these, glorious children who are continuing the line with more beautiful Vaishnavas. And so there's been some interesting back and forth there. But if you don't want to have the burden of trying to figure out your finances and making money, there's an alternative. There's a nice recourse. All right. Haridas Thakur. Certainly the chanting of 300,000 holy names of the Lord is wonderful. No ordinary person can chant so many names, nor should one artificially imitate Haridas Thakur's behavior. It is essential, however, that everyone fulfill a specific vow to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, we have prescribed in our society that all our students must chant at least 16 rounds daily. Such chanting must be offenseless in order to be of high quality. Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as chanting of the holy names without offenses. It is stated in the Caitanya Bhagavat Adi-lila, chapter 2, that Haridas Thakur was born in a village known as Budhana, but after some time came to live on the bank of the Ganges at Pulia, near Shantipur. From the description of his chastisement by a Muslim magistrate, which is found in the 11th chapter of the Adi-lila of Caitanya Bhagavat, we can understand how humble and meek Haridas Thakur was, and how he achieved the causeless mercy of the Lord. In the dramas performed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur played the part of a police chief. While chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Benapola, he was personally tested by Maya Devi herself. Haridas Thakur's passing away is described in the Adi-lila of Caitanya Caritamrta, 11th chapter. It is not definitely certain whether Sri Haridas Thakur appeared in the village named Budhana, that is the district of Kulana. That is in the district of Kulana. Formerly, this village was within a district of 24 Pargunas within the Shatikira division. Sankhya Purvaka Gananartana. The 6 Goswamis were chanting a specific number of rounds, and I tried to get my son Maruti to chant a particular amount, and it was reinforced yesterday in our reading of Nimai and the Mouse. Nimai had convinced the mouse to chant 4 rounds daily, and so when Maruti heard that, and I reinforced, I said, if a mouse can do it, I think you can chant at least 1 a day. It's a fictional mouse, but still the mouse is doing it, so you can chant something. So it's nice, to have this system of counting our rounds. Otherwise it's just airy-fairy. It was interesting, actually, Guru Maharaj, when you were quoting, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. We had a living rosary at my son's school, in which they chanted rosary around the whole chapel, with each child saying one part of it. And the teacher at the end said, it's not important that we chant this rosary every day, but at least we should say some Hail Mary, and then we'll feel very liberated and very peaceful at heart. And in my head, I thought, how nice is our philosophy that we're not so lenient, that no, you chant a specific number of rounds. Your heart needs cleansing. Cheto darpana marjanam, bhavamaha davagni nivapana. We have this burning experience of material existence, and it's through the orders of the spiritual master chanting our prescribed number of rounds that we have so much benefit to gain, more than just at our whim when we feel like chanting. And so obviously we can't imitate Haridas Thakur, but 16 rounds daily is very reasonable. Anything on this? From Praveen Krishna Prabhu, we have a comment. Can there be mechanical chanting, which is offensive?
It will be difficult because one of the offenses is to be inattentive, and while chanting mechanically, we may pay less attention. Also, just because the mechanical chanting is usually the chanting of the neophyte, and the neophyte will tend toward offenses. So it's not necessary, so it sort of all fits together, that one is a neophyte, one is chanting mechanically, one commits offenses, but as one advances, then one chants not mechanically, but what was given as the alternative? More effective? I see. Mechanical is not as powerful as chanting without offenses. So there's a distinction there made that the mechanical chanting will be offensive. And chanting without offenses won't be mechanical. If we chant without offenses, then that chanting is going to be powerful, and therefore it's going to bring us to another level of chanting. It's not going to be just mechanical chanting, but it's going to be chanting with attention, even with ecstasy. So we're talking about two levels. Mechanical chanting, and one may be thinking in the mechanical chanting, 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. He's just focused on completing the rounds, and his mind wanders, and whatever other offenses may be there. But in advanced chanting, one chants without offenses, and therefore the chanting has greater depth and is, as Prabhupada said, more effective.
Thank you. Something working?
I was just noticing from this purport how I still have this calculation fresh on my phone's calculator function. I figured out that it comes out to about 173 rounds per day that Haridas Thakur was chanting, and that's at the rate of an average ISKCON sadhaka, that's about something more than 20 hours worth of japa. So anyway, that's there. I also thought it was interesting that it's stated that in the dramas performed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur played the part of a police chief. That must have been really something to see. I can't imagine it. And perhaps it's teased out in greater detail in Chaitanya Bhagavat, but it certainly does stimulate the imagination as to what that must have looked like.
Should I continue, or am I passing it along? What are my instructions?
Let's pass it along to Vijay Krishna Prabhu. Why don't you read some Vijay Krishna Prabhu? Are you ready?
Yes, Sekendra Prabhu, I am. So, text 44 now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. You're most kind. Tangarananta guna kahi din matra. Acharya Gosani yang rebung joya shraddha patra. Translation. there was no end to the transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur. Here, I mention but a fraction of his qualities. He was so exalted that Advaita Goswami, when performing the Shraddha ceremony of his father, offered him the first plate. Text 45. Should I go on?
Yes, please.
I actually have one quick question. Kendra Prabhu, because you brought up the number, 170 something. I am curious, when we read these statements that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would only eat at the house of someone who has chanted a lack of rounds or a lack of a holy name, it's being given to us as 64. And I was just curious, maybe it's not something anyone has an immediate answer to, but just putting it out in the ether, how are we getting this number 64 when Ayendra Prabhu was pretty firm on his number, something closer to 57 or 58, however you calculate. I know you just did it with your calculator. But so how do we get this number 64, which is pretty much the standard that we hear from the Gaudiya Math, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada enforced that number, or maybe even before him. But I'm just trying to figure out how these numbers come about, because by that calculation, 300,000 would be more like 192. And I'm just, normally it wouldn't be so important to me, but we're discussing how, chanting a fixed number is so important. So it would be nice to know what is that fixed number and what exactly are we considering 100,000 holy names, and how many rounds does that actually equate to? And why do we do 64? Anyway, some thoughts if anybody has input.
I certainly don't. Perhaps Maharaj can say something.
No, math is not my field. I don't really have any comments there. But I did on the verse. The Shraddha ceremony is the death anniversary of one's forefather. And in that ceremony, part of the proceeding is to feed an exalted person, or Shraddha means, the Prabhupada translates it, the first plate. So the first plate is given to as an especially respected person among the, in our society, among the devotees. And Advaita Acharya came from a very respectable Brahmin family, and here he's giving the first plate to a Muslim. Haridas Thakur is someone who comes from a Muslim family. So Haridas Thakur protested that you're just going to make a joke out of your aristocratic Brahminical standing. It's like a joke giving for you to give the first plate to a Muslim. And Advaita Acharya quoted many verses to the effect that a Vaishnava is better than even the most exalted Brahmana. That will come later, I think, in Adi-lila.
Jai, thank you so much, Maharaj. More something more?
No.
Murai Gupta Prabhu had a question for you. He said, Hare Krishna Maharaj, can we say that mechanical chanting anticipates some future benefits, while offenseless chanting delivers the results while chanting?
Yes, we can say that. At least he's chanting. It may be mechanical, but by the order of the spiritual master, he's taken up chanting a specific number of rounds, and he's at least obedient. It may be mechanical, but he's chanting. But if he's chanting, as Prabhupada said, a certain number of rounds and trying to avoid 10 offenses, then that attempt may later be rewarded, and it comes to offenseless chanting. Or more specifically, there's the the offenseless stage, the offensive stage, then the clearing stage. One is trying to avoid offenses, so one is somewhat successful, and then it comes to the stage of success, offenseless chanting. So yes, the mechanical chanting anticipates offenseless chanting.
Thank you. Vijay Krishna Prabhu, would you like to continue?
Yes, Sekendra Prabhu. Text 45. Pralad samana tamara gunera taranga javana tadaneo yanranahika brubanga. The waves of his good qualities were like those of Prahlad Maharaj. He did not even slightly raise an eyebrow when persecuted by the Muslim ruler. Text 46. Tenosti di Pailetanra deha lana kole Nachila Chaitanya Prabhu Maha Kotu Hale. After the passing away of Haridas Thakur, the Lord himself took his body on his lap and danced with it in great ecstasy. Text 47. Adi-lila Varniyachena Vrindavana Das Yeba Avashishta Ajekariba Prakash. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has vividly described the pastimes of Haridas Thakur in his Caitanya Bhagavat. Whatever has remained undescribed, I shall try to explain later in this book. Text 48.
One thing, going back a couple of verses, he didn't even raise an eyebrow when persecuted by the Muslim ruler. Somebody wrongs us in some way or is about to wrong us, we become like a reservoir of countermeasures, imagined countermeasures, possible countermeasures, insults, reasons, appeals. We just become filled with, responses. How can you do this? Does your mother know you do these things? So many things come to our mind, but and it's not light. It's not, even if somebody wants to create some administrative block for us, we're thinking about, come on, you idiot, and so on. And here's Haridas Thakur. He's going to be whipped in so many marketplaces, which means killed, and doesn't even raise an eyebrow. So what is that standard of devotional purity? And this is one, it's described that is, waves of good qualities. He's just a fraction of his good qualities are being mentioned here. Then we can only imagine how many good qualities he had, or the extent of his good qualities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Text 48. Tana Upashaka Yata Kulina Gramijan Satyaraj Adi Tanra Kripara Bhajan. Translation. One sub-branch of Haridas Thakur consisted of the residents of Kulinagram. The most important among them was Satyaraj Khan, or Satyaraj Vasu, who was a recipient of all the mercy of Haridas Thakur. Purport. Satyaraj Khan was the son of Gunaraj Khan and father of Ramananda Vasu. Haridas Thakur lived for some time during the Chaturmasya period in the village named Kulinagram, where he chanted the holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and distributed his mercy to the descendants of the Vasu family. Satyaraj Khan was allotted the service of supplying silk ropes for the Jagannath deity during the Ratha Yatra festival. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's answers to his inquiries about the duty of householder devotees are vividly described in the Adi-lila, chapters 15 and 16. The village of Kulinagram is situated 2 miles from the railway station named Jaugram on the New Court line from Howrah to Burdwan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very highly praised the people of Kulinagram, and he stated that even a dog of Kulinagram was very dear to him. And okay, Jen, what happens now is for me to give my comments. So I just would like to go back to text 44, where I read that Advaita Goswami, when performing the Shraddha ceremony of his father, offered to Haridas Thakur the first plate. So based on this, my question is, Maharaj, if I may ask, what is the importance of the observance of Vaishnava etiquette in the life of a devotee?
It's important. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu someplace says, I can't tolerate transgressions of Vaishnava etiquette. The Vaishnava etiquette, sadachar, means good behavior. So the devotee is supposed to follow good behavior, proper behavior, which means you should know that this is called culture, to know how to act, how to respect elders, how to take a humble position, how to speak properly, when to speak and when not to speak, knowing so many things about proper behavior. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he chastises Jagadananda Pandit, that you're advising Sanatana Goswami, he's so senior to you, and you're giving him advice, so you're transgressing the etiquette. There are many examples. Sridhar Swami, you're criticizing Sridhar Swami. He's the original commentator on Bhagavatam, and you're thinking that you can surpass him. So this is transgression. Maryada Vyatikrama, overstepping Maryada. Maryada is another name of etiquette. You're overstepping the Maryada, the proper behavior. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers it important. Otherwise it's theoretical that we're Trinadapi Shuni chain and one is humble like the grass. But then how do we exhibit that? How does a Vaishnav act? How does a Vaishnav act? When it's said that devotees have all good qualities, those are manifest in particular ways. And one of the ways is that we follow the proper behavior. And when a devotee is advanced, it's not just etiquette in the sense of rules that I have to follow, but one feelingly follows. I was reading in Giriraj Maharaj's book, Dancing White Elephants, that Prabhupada stayed at the home of one family in Bombay, I think, and they stayed. He and his entourage stayed for some days, and then the host as they were leaving asked to be forgiven. I think he asked the devotees, in fact, to forgive him for whatever offenses or shortcomings there'd been during their stay. And that's a matter of etiquette. This is sort of a standard that when a guest, respected guest leaves, you ask to be forgiven for whatever shortcomings or offenses. But Giriraj Maharaj recounted that this gentleman, while asking to be forgiven of offenses, broke into tears. So that's beyond that's within the category of etiquette, but it goes beyond mere etiquette. We think of etiquette as being, again, mechanical, something that you do, some standards that you follow. But here it was so heartfelt. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
You're welcome, Ekandra Prabhu.
Wanted to say, Murai Gupta Prabhu comments in this regard. He says, non-devotees recognize that, quote, manners maketh man.
Nice. And social media destroys etiquette. It doesn't have to, but it tends to very strongly. We get on there, our fingers become energized, and etiquette, any sense of etiquette can go to the dogs, because all that matters is to express ourselves or tell the truth or whatever our idea is. And any sense of etiquette is tossed out, to our great misfortune. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Gurudas Prabhu says, Dandavats Maharaj and devotees. He says, sometimes that, please forgive my offenses, Prabhu. When might that become niyamagraha?
It's hard to think of that becoming niyamagraha.
I meant, Maharaj, that sometimes you hear devotees say it, and I'm no expert, but sometimes I know it's not very sincere. I'm certainly been guilty of that also.
Well, that's mechanical.
Yeah.
That's mechanical. But even then, mechanical etiquette is appreciated. At least he followed the standard. It may not have been very heartfelt, but at least, what would we say? He acted like a gentleman or whatever. But you have a point there that when the etiquette is followed mechanically, we get a sense of shallowness, we get a sense of superficiality, almost hypocrisy. It's like, please forgive my offenses, you dog. there's a sort of, I have to say this, but you don't really deserve it. So that kind of following of the etiquette, or a lot of resentment has been, Mataji, address, which is meant to be an address of respect, but it becomes something said with a sneer, and then it has the opposite effect. It's resented. The term is used. Not only is it used mechanically, but it's even weaponized, and we're following Vaishnava etiquette. So the heart should be there. Just like chanting should be offenseless, or we should be trying to avoid 10 offenses, not just that we mechanically do this, but that we at least try to avoid offenses. And if we try, one day it will come to that stage, offenseless chanting, and then it will be effective. So mechanical. One time, in the very early days, Gargamuni asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, should we bow down before you even if we don't feel anything? And Prabhupada said, yes. So of course it was the sort of question that later no one would have dared to express, but it was simple and sincere. And the idea, as far as I understand, is that yes, this is mechanical, but this will help you develop the right attitude, the right understanding. So therefore, there are sort of rules of etiquette for someone who's advanced. The rules are not required. He's so full of regard for others and so humble that etiquette is not even needed. But still, things are laid out. This is how you should act. This is how you should act. And all right, even if we do it mechanically, by doing it mechanically, that will help us come to the, doing it mechanically will help us come to the stage where it's heartfelt.
Right. Thank you, Maharaj. Radhesha Prabhu, would you like to lead us in our closing kirtan? Gurdas Prabhu has a final comment here. Many devotees have said, fake it until you make it, as part of their preaching. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Not even lifting an eyebrow to our own persecution Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokapinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Samaveda Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. All glories to Samud devotees. All glories to Samud devotees. All glories to Samud devotees. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Hari Haribol. Thank you so much, Radhesha Prabhu. Dana mentions, thank you so much for such wonderful association and nectar. I feel blessed, grateful for all of you all. Dandavats. Maharaj Gupta Prabhu says, Jai, thank you, Maharaj. Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. And next week, inshallah, we shall hear of Maharaj Gupta himself. And yes, not even raising an eyebrow to our persecutors. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Jai.
Very well. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gurudas Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Jaya.